Testing 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. How's your face? So, yeah, I was saying yesterday, George Ray Beach, are you there? We have a number for George Beach, but it's a straight to voicemail. George Beach, are you there? George Beach, are you there? We have your number, but nobody answers. We leave voicemails, nobody's returned a phone call. Supposedly you talked to Sarah for an hour. But she gave me a number, and the number goes straight to voicemail. You didn't even know your grandchild, Tyler, was in a car accident and had his organs stolen because he was an organ donor. You didn't know that happened in 2017. So as far as anybody knew, you were not among the living. So that's what's new. What's new in news with me? It's got to be something. Oh yeah, I've been trying to get into yoga. So yoga is kind of like meditation. So if you can't meditate, if you found that you really try to meditate but you can't, just do some stretches as a substitute for that. So you basically, you're doing an action versus sitting still. When you meditate, you kind of just sitting there and not moving. But if you've had trouble doing that, I'd say just do yoga instead, whether you want to follow somebody online or just do some fun stretches, in your room or wherever that you find space to do that. So that can be kind of like meditation, but in a different way. So yeah, I would just do some fun stretches. So that's what I've been into, trying to get into that. When you see results, when you try something out and you see positive results, you want to do it again. So I think I've seen some interesting results. I don't want to say positive or negative, but I just want to say interesting results from just doing some basic stretches. I got to kind of credit Dangerfield for turning me on to that. I mean, we hear it from many sources, but sometimes you have to hear things over and over again until they finally sink in. You have to literally brainwash yourself with the truth. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's true or false, but sometimes even it's true, it's going to work, but you just have to hear it over and over again and over and over and over again until you finally do it, all right? Until you finally do it. And do it like every day, make it a regular practice. So kind of like writing a goal list down, You write it down, you read it, you know it's going to work, but you don't do it, right? You don't do it. You don't put it into practice. So a lot of these things we know already, but we just haven't been doing them. So, or we've kind of got wind of it, but maybe never even tried it out. Like I've never really even tried yoga. The other day I did try it at my local gym here. I would say it was an interesting experience, except for there was a little mask issue, you know, that mask thing. So it kind of soured the whole entire experience for me, but so I'm just going to start doing whatever stretches or whatever work I want to do. It's going to be probably by myself and personal. So there's you know, maybe the instructor will be online from a YouTube video or something. ADL, I mean, maybe the ADL who polices YouTube will help me do yoga. You know, Leo Frank in the ADL, Leo Frank, that guy who raped and murdered like a teenage girl, Leo Frank. And he had a lot of money, so he got off. Essentially, he escaped death. But then he was later hung, and they killed him anyways. They were called the Knights of Mary Fagin. So he raped and murdered a teenage girl. He was a rich Jewish guy. And that's part of how the ADL was founded. The ADL is now policing YouTube. So they think if you have enough money, you should be able to get away with rape, murder. He blamed it on a black guy. Since everything is racially charged nowadays, we're going to bring up all the colors and the races and the religions. Leo Frank blamed the murder on a black worker, black janitor or something at his factory. Tried to pin it on him, but it didn't stick. See, I like to bring that up anytime I talk on YouTube. Just who is policing our speech? Who hates free speech? Who is a hate group? It's the ADL. The ADL is a hate group. Yeah, what's new? We're just talking about what's new. Yeah, yoga. I'm going to try to do that every day. Not yoga, just whatever stretches. Try to exercise the demons out, so to speak. I want to put joy back on my list. You know, you really can't do proper diagnosis on somebody once they've been taking pharmaceutical drugs for so long. We can't do a proper assessment because we don't know how much damage those drugs did to her brain. So, you know, the baseline, like they say, we don't know what that is. But I'm going to put her back on my list because why not, you know? I don't want her to suffer. I don't want anybody to be robbed by the devil or any kind of demonic entity. You You know, there was a study done by a psychiatrist or somebody who was studying all these people with issues, and he did kind of come to the conclusion that they were these entities, these, whether you want to call them archons or demons. A less scary word would be archon, right? So that there were these entities that they feed off people's fear, and they thrive in environments like prisons, you know, where everybody's scared and they're raping each other, right? And killing each other, kind of like out here in the real world, right? You see rape, yeah. Murder, yeah, Elizabeth. So it's kind of like here in the real world in prison, but just more confined. You know, everybody's just doing that in prison. So we have to be careful what we think, of what we focus on, our thoughts. Really have to guard your mind, what you give attention to, energy to. But yeah, these entities, they feed off fear. So I kind of want to go down that path as far as dealing with issues. You know, the physical manifestation, as I was talking to Sarah, says it's you know, it manifests in the physical, but we can deal with it on the spiritual. So, as far as beads go, it's not selenite, but it's damn, I can't. So it's black obsidian and what can I think of it? Well, obsidian and I want to say selenite. You know, I want to get, it's not selenite, but I hear good things about selenite, spiritually speaking. But it's not selenite, it's citrine. Yeah, C, it starts with a C still, right? Or S, or sounds the same. Selenite, citrine, SC, whatever. But so citrine and obsidian, I found that, you know, when I was being attacked, I made a bracelet. It was citrine and black obsidian, and yeah, that broke it off like that. So citrine, you can read about that. So maybe, you know, I got to give Joy this bracelet. You know, I want to give it to Charlene. So it's not just Joy that was dealing with these, whether you want to call it mental, spiritual issues, but they're manifesting in the mind, in the psyche somehow. So Charlene has had these issues. Sarah has had these issues. Joy has had these issues, you know. And so me personally now, when I feel like I'm being attacked, I'll use eagle eye. So eagle eye is that gray stone. It looks like tiger eye, but it's gray basically, right? Now I found that to be very protective. It also is good for, you know, for the mind. So personally, my go-to, if I feel like I'm under some kind of psychic attack or whatever, bad mojo, I'll use eagle eye. So I have some of that. I have a necklace, eagle eye necklace. So from time to time I'll wear that. What I'm wearing now is see, I got the orange kind of orange well, I got River Rock. That's the kind of tan looking one. And I have the well, I can't think of it. I know what it is. It's the orange. Well, it's that orange. Got the River Rock and the well, I can't think of the name, but it's orange. The name isn't orange. The name is It's, let's see, how long is it going to take me to think of this name? I don't know. Can't think of it. That's my favorite one right now. This one kind of, you know, I don't want to say it keeps you grounded, but it'll keep you more to your it'll hold you to your core a little bit more. I don't know. I want to try to say it right, you know, like Nelly Furtado says, say it right. Say it right. I want to say it right. It's damn it, what's the name of it? Yeah, it's the one I'm wearing now. So yeah, I was just saying, what's new? What's new? I mean, I've got interested in Neville Goddard, but I haven't really. I mean, a lot of the reading is kind of boring. He goes into scripture a lot. You know, he tries to tie everything into Christianity. Now we got to understand that when he was writing this book or doing these talks, you had a large amount of people who were Christian, you know, Catholic, whoever. So he wanted to probably tie that in with Christianity so it could be more palatable. Whereas nowadays, people might not care so much and you can be accepted and you don't have to tie it into Christianity. But I do think he was a good guy for sure. Definitely before his time, Neville Goddard. But it's not easy to read necessarily because, you know, he'll start going down these, you know, the scriptures. Kind of got interested in Steiner as well, but haven't really read much of his stuff. I just joined a Facebook group, Steiner. So I'm catching some of his quotes. Really interesting. You can be the judge if it's factual or not about the spirit world, basically. Yeah, as far as the psychiatric stuff, or the mind, yeah, I mean, Joy's gone through it, Sarah has, Charlene has. I mean, I think the general thread might be fear. I don't think it's necessarily voices, but I think the general underlying thread would probably be fear-based. So, and yeah, like I was telling Sarah the other day, well, here's what I told Sarah, but it's true, that, you know, when I was with my dad and he was, you know, praying for people, preaching, and he liked to lay hands, so I laid hands. I was with him. I wasn't the head guru, but I did lay hands and pray for this girl. She was experiencing kind of night terrors. So I laid my hand on her head, and I did pray, and I did mean everything I said, you know, to break it off, whatever, to go back. And, you know, you lay your hand on somebody's head and you say some words and you mean them, and basically what you're doing is you're fighting a spirit, right? You're fighting something spiritual, not physical. So I did that, and I think she did, you know, right away, but maybe a couple days later you ask her, because she's having these night terrors, well, are you still having those or what? You know, I can't remember exactly, but I think it did maybe go away. But what I realized is and this is what I told Sarah too, but it's coming, so something's on you, right? Maybe it's a bad spirit, but it's not coming from a spirit. It's coming from a person. It's a spirit, but it's a spirit from a physical person. So you got the physical person here, spirit here, interaction on you. But it's not coming from the spirit. It's coming from the person here, the physical flesh person. So you experience it as spiritual, but the spiritual is coming from the physical. But that's, obviously it's a pathway here. So when I prayed that off of her, I recognized, well, I was driving down the street one day, and I recognized this guy at a bus stop on the side of the road. And I looked in his eyes, and I recognized something. So basically my summation, whether it's true or false, was that kind of like maybe he was the one sending that evil spirit to that girl, right? I know it's a big leap, right? But it's quite a jump. But he was kind of like the ones that the bad evil spirit that was tormenting her at night was coming from this guy, this fellow here. See? So when I prayed it off her, well, it might go jump on you or whatever, but or it might go back to them, but it's kind of gets complicated there, right? So I do want, so that was my basically kind of realization way back then. But as for now, I guess what I could do is hold up Joy in prayer, and myself and everybody in the world. As far as this COVID stuff, I think I had it on my list to destroy the people behind it, something like that, Yeah, we want to hold up everybody and the world in prayer. We want to have the good without the bad. And another thing when I was talking to Janet, well, the government, what I want from government, or what you want from the government, is you always want the good. You don't want the bad. You don't want the bad. You want the good without the bad, of course. Why would I want the good and the bad? I want to remove the bad and just keep the good. Yep, Janet, that's exactly what I want. The good without the bad. That's it. That's right. Write that down. Don't forget it. I want the good without the bad. Why would you want the crap? You remove the crap. You remove the cancer, the decay, the dead crap. You remove that. So what's new with me? What's new? Well, I'm always on the verge of separation with Janet, I guess. As soon as I have enough money, I probably will split. I'll go somewhere else and do something else. I'll go be a loser somewhere else, or whatever. I'll go be somebody else's bitch boy. Yeah, that's what's new. Joy, George. Joy's, kind of the progression is getting worse. Whatever it is, but we can hold up other people in prayers. That does work too. I've noticed it working when I hold up Joy. When I hold up anybody, I'll notice. So there's a correlation of the chicken and the egg. And if you read Neville Goddard, he talks about that too, just holding up people in your imagination in a good way, and then witnessing that exact thing that you held them up too. So he talks about that. And that blew my mind, actually, when he talks about, you know, a barber, and he made sure that the barber really liked what he was doing or whatever. And so he held him up, or somebody did. It was him or somebody else. And he saw his vision of that guy success, you know, opening up his own shop or something like that. So it's not just me saying that, but it's really true. So yeah, just guard your thoughts, guard your imaginations, what you entertain, the thoughts you entertain. And I think just try to do that. If you can't meditate, if you have a hard time quieting your mind, do some stretches. Get to that point via yoga, via stretches, you know. You can go to instructed yoga class and you can kind of get to that same point, you know. Actually, it's even better than, I think it's better than meditation. I think doing yoga, it builds a sort of discipline in itself and a balance that just sitting and meditating doesn't really achieve. So I'd say between the two, I'd say yoga, stretching, that balance, that discipline is better than just sitting and meditating. So between the two, I'd say do yoga versus just sitting and breathing, because you're going to do that anyways with yoga. But you don't have to call it yoga or be kind of like Dangerfield was calling it stretching, a stretch stream, you know. So it's not intimidating. It's not supposed to be intimidating, and you're just doing some stretches and start off, you know, kind of with that mindset and just kind of improvise from there, build up to whatever, you know.